Hey folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique session. This is critique number 42. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to This Week in Photo. It's time for another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr. Troy Miller, who's hanging out in Southern California and ready to issue some, what do we call it in the green room? Some sadism-based critique.
For some of the images, maybe. Yeah, not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all.
Yeah, apparently some of my friends and TWiP Pro members say that we're too nice on their work. So they said they don't want us to say anything nice about it. They just want to hear. They just want the nitty gritty. They want the nitpick, and that's it.
All right. I mean, be careful what you ask for, because I'm trying to be nice here and not to discourage and crush any dreams or anything. No, there's always good work in there, but yeah, we do, yeah, not that we're trying to be overly nice, but we just, we're nice people. We don't want to overly criticize when it's not necessary.
So we can save our niceness marbles for somebody other than Peter, because Peter
is the one. Yeah,
he's the one. Yeah, he's
all right. Well, it's time to crush Peter.
Right. Yes. Let's do it.
All right, man. Before we dive in, what's anything new happening down there in your world? You staying safe? No fires are affecting you?
No fires. Hanging out. Last wedding of the year was last weekend or the weekend before that. So kind of just getting geared up for the year, enjoying our good weather. Yeah. I got some family that's out from Indiana, and it's 30 below and snowing or whatever for them. So they're enjoying the weather. So we're hanging out. No, it's good.
Midwest to the West Coast. That's a jump right there, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. All right, well, let's do this, man. We've got quite a few images to dive through this week. I want to say it was like 10 or 12 in there, right?
14.
14. Wow. All right. All right, let's do this. Let me go ahead and screen share TWiP Pro here, and then we'll dive right in. Here we are. All right, here's TWiP Pro. And it looks like the first shot is from Armando Bruck, the Taj Mahal. Let's bring that up. He said he shot this back in 2012 when he was living in India for 4 years. He shot this with his 50D with the 18-200 on it. Let's bring that up big. Look at that. What do you think about that for Taj Mahal?
Wow.
Have you been? You've never been to India, right? No.
Only foreign country I've been to is Canada.
Yeah, you say that with such disdain.
No. I'm just trying to be dramatic, like I've been to Canada.
Oh, yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with Canada. I've been to Canada. I like Canada.
This is great. I'm really just kind of checking out like the highlight and shadow concept here. Where we have this bright on the left and it's darker on the right, and I don't know if that's a dodging and burning technique. I don't think it is. I think that maybe that was like weather or something, and the sun's coming in on the left. Mm-hmm. I love the balance with the towers. I love that intentional use of the towers.
Yeah, the ones on the far right and left.
Yeah,
it's obvious that it's intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I would probably balance the tonality, though. I might dodge the right side a little bit with a linear gradient, and I might increase the darkness on the left side. Not so they're the same, but I think it's too extreme.
Yeah, really. But see, I didn't see that. I felt like it's a nice sort of. I mean, you need a highlight and shadow to sort of convey depth, right? And looking at the left side and the light striking the main dome in the middle, it's obvious that the sun's over there. Probably at maybe 11 o'clock or so. Maybe 10 position wise. And then on the right side, it sort of falls off into shadow as expected. I do see on the left side that one tower that's on the far left. It does feel a little hot, and maybe you could bring that down a little bit. But overall, I like the sort of split between the highlight and the shadow in this. It really brings me in and gives me the sort of feel of depth.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm really kind of struggling with the highlight, though. I mean, if you look on the tower and the building in the middle, you've got a bright highlight along the left edge. You got a shadow on the right, and that shows shape and dimension. But the tower on the far left doesn't have that, and so
I see what you're saying. You're saying.
It feels misplaced. you know, and I think maybe that's just a contrast lighting intention within the way that the image was processed. I mean, I think this is awesome. I'm going to say it. I think it would look good black and white though.
You think this? Well, yeah, right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because the color in the shot, what do we say? Is the color adding anything to the scene, right? And not really, right? It's not really adding anything to the scene for us.
Yeah, yeah. But this is great. I mean, I really do enjoy this image. This is very cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Very cool.
All right, moving right along here. Let's move out of that one. Taj Mahal from Armando Brook. Well, let's move into Howard Yermish. While I was away on business trip in Vegas, we were lucky enough to have rooms with a view of the Bellagio fountain. Every time I see shots like this, I think of Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12. Right?
Yeah.
Look at that. All right, you go first. What do you think?
Well, I'm just looking at the colors and you know, looking at the leading lines. I love the intentional use of vertical lines. Horizontal lines are really nice. You know, for me, whenever I see, you know, architectural type or landscape photography, I'm always looking to see are those lines straight, you know, and that always shows intention to me with the photographer. Like they took time to compose it and do that. That's really nice. You know, I don't really have a lot to add to this. I mean, I wish there were some clouds or a moon or something to fill that negative space up there, but it wasn't there. So, yeah, it's really nice. Very colorful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's your classic sort of Vegas shot, right? This is the shot that you want to get, or the room that you hope you get when they assign you your room in Vegas. And this is definitely a room with a view. No, I dig it. The Bellagio fountains. I think that row, you see the little row in the middle, the sort of semicircle of water shooting up. I think those are the ones that like go really, really high. I would have loved to have seen the shot with those at their peak, you know, sort of shooting up in the air.
Right. More fountain.
Yeah. Cause that's you know, I mean, the Bellagio is a beautiful hotel, but that's their, you know, their piece de resistance is their fountain out front. So I'd want to see the fountains at their biggest and their most grandeur-is, if that's a word.
Sure.
But yeah, other than that, it's awesome. You know, even looking at this photo just sort of evokes stress. It's like of Vegas. This is like, Vegas is a maze. It is designed to like disorient you as you were walking around, and I could see it. It's like, okay, if you go that way, how do you get into the hotel? It's over there. Yeah, and look, Caesar's Palace in the background. That is like 5 miles away, even though it seems close because it's so big.
Right.
No, I dig it. Cool.
Yeah, no, this is a really nice shot. This is very well done, and this is actually much harder to do than you would think because you walk around Vegas and there's so many colors and things going on. It's hard to find a center to grab your attention. So, but that's the challenge of it, right? That's what makes it fun. So,
no, absolutely.
More cowbell and more fountain.
There you go. All right, thank you, Howard. All right, moving right along. Tim Ingles in the house with his 35 millimeter f2.8. Let's bring this one up.
Natural light.
All right, what do you think of this guy?
Oh, I love this. I really love natural light highlights. I love the natural highlight that you get from, say, windows or open sky or, you know, those kind of things. I think that's really, really wonderful. This is such a beautiful portrait. It's maybe it's just me, but if you look at her face and look down where her mouth would be, there's a fold in the and it looks like there's a pair of lips there.
I see it. It totally does. Yeah, it totally does.
Very Beetlejuice or something.
You see, and now that you said that, I can't unsee it. So,
which makes it just a little creepy and like even extra awesome.
Yeah. I wonder if Tim did that on purpose. No, I get it. That was really cool. I did.
Yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy his soft contrast that he's been playing with a lot, and I'm not normally a big fan of that. I normally go with the heavy saturated and darker tones and more contrast. I know you kind of like that too.
Yeah.
And it's neat to see this stuff coming in like this.
Yeah, and the classic black background, right? You can play around with that and put that up anywhere. You know, I had this stuff. God, it was like years ago. I got from Denny's Manufacturing Company. Remember Denny's? They make all the backgrounds and all that. And I got this one material, it was a roll of it that was like super light absorbent. It was almost like felt or crushed something on it, but it was, you could shine a light on it, it would just soak up the light. And you could use that thing as a background and get this kind of effect, even in a light room. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I've yet to be able to find that stuff though. So.
Yeah, no, this is cool. My only creative suggestion is to blur the lower part of the image. You know, like where her top is.
To blur it, really?
Well, it's in focus,
yeah.
Right? I wish it wasn't in focus. I wish it was out of focus. I wish it was soft, like her shoulders. You know, so her face would stand out. You know, that focus kind of draws my eye. Or maybe just crop it up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like it. And Tim resisted the urge to chop off the top of her head too. Look at that. He got pretty close.
Well, he got some hair.
I
wasn't going to mention that.
He's got to chop off something. So yeah, you know, let him have a couple strands of hair. It's okay, Tim. He's like, he can't help himself. Got to chop something off.
Right.
But look at her eyes, though. Wow, that's haunting.
Yeah.
That's flawless really cool. Eyebrows. Very cool. All right, it's moving right along. Tim Engel. All right, Mark Harris is next. He says, let me bring this up. He says, "What's that coming through the dark?" Is the quotation. Part of a photo obsession with this model light was from a single bulb about 6 foot from the model. He shot this with his Nikon D850 and his Zeiss 50mm. All right, let's bring this up. All right, what say you, wedding and portrait photographer? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I love the intention that's going on here, and I love the look in her face and the hair covering her eye, and you know the title. The title's really cool. So it really makes me think like he's going, you know, for something a little bit more noir, which I think that this burning it down a little bit, burning down her chest and her right shoulder would help a lot. And then just letting her face kind of come through in a black and white. I think a black and white for this would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. If not, you can still do the dodging and burning and keep your color. Yeah. I just wish the pose was different. The way it looks like now, it looks like her body is leaning to her left, and then she brought her face back in, which really makes her right shoulder very, very, very prominent. And had she scooted her body slightly to camera right and then leaned in, her shoulder would have dropped. You know, her shoulder would have dropped, and then she would have leaned in her face, and that would have minimized her shoulder.
Yeah. And
I think that would really help because we want to see her face a lot more.
And when you say you would like to see this in black and white, explain that more, because when I look at this, especially reading his caption, he wanted the warm light of the single bulb to illuminate her. What do you think losing that would have given a shot?
I don't think you're going to lose a lot. I mean, maybe, you know, if you wanted that red color, that's why I said, you know, you can leave the color there. But for me, I really want to focus on her face, and warm tones and colors. It's an element. It's an element that we see in the image, and we're attracted to either warm or blue. And so by taking all that out, it sterilizes the image a little bit more. And then you can get sort of into that more mysterious, noir, dark, theatrical feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just always, I gravitate towards that look anyway, the black and white. So
I would never have known that. Thank you for sharing that.
But even just the dodging and burning would, I think, you know, burning down her chest and her shoulder and everything, just so we can see her mask of her face even more, would just make it all the more powerful. It's a really great shot.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you there. Who shot this? Mark Harris. Cool. All right. Kai Gradert, from a recent road trip through Canada. This lighting lasted only for a split moment. Luckily, he had his 400mm lens on the passenger seat ready to go. Let's bring this up. You hear that?
What is that?
Making it the world's second largest country by total area.
Let's listen. This is the Amazon Echo deciding to school me on Canada. just randomly. Did you hear that, audience? I'm gonna leave that in there. just randomly, she has like, I call it fact Tourette's. Every now and then, out of the blue, a random fact that I didn't ask for comes out of her. So,
Oh my gosh.
fact
Oh my
Tourette's by Amazon. So, all right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Thank you for the interruption, Miss Echo in the background. What do you think of this one?
I love landscapes through long lenses. And I've shot a lot of stuff like this. So I really appreciate the compression and the shape and the colors and things that are going on in here. I just absolutely dig it. I think he cropped it really well. I like the blue and the muted mountain tones as the juxtaposition with a little bit of snow. I think it's perfect. I think it's great. This would look great big, really big.
Yeah. Especially, I'd love to see it big because I want to see how sharp it is. How sharp is it down to those rocks? And one thing I was thinking when I was looking at this, it's hard to get scale on it. I mean, I see there's some pine trees in the shadow, breaking up the highlight area from the shadow area at the bottom, so I can kind of get an idea of the scale from it. But that's about it in terms of you kind of getting an idea of how big this thing is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge mountain peak, but it could be a small little hill, if it weren't for those little trees down there.
Right. Yeah. Those 100-foot tall trees down there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, would you have put, cloud wise, if you were going to make a composite out of this, would you put clouds in this shot? And I know I'm asking someone who's not a big fan of clouds, but so, that's our inside joke.
Wow.
Peter will understand what I'm talking about with that comment.
Yeah, we'll have to elaborate on that some other time.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to pause this for a second. All right. So what do you think?
So if I was to put clouds in this, even though, I've had cloud challenges in the past, just in short, so you can kind of get the inside joke, is I showed a very talented composite artist an image, and she very quickly caught on to the fact that my clouds may not have been, the correct lighting direction and stuff. And, ever since then, I'm, not the cloud guy.
Yeah,
so,
that will be a cloud that hangs over your head for eternity.
Oh, great.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Well, that made the cover of PPA magazine, so it couldn't have been all that.
Oh,
bad.
Listen to that. All right.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I saw that. We'll give you that one.
Sorry, Kai, we got off topic of your image a little bit.
Yes.
But it looks like there's a cloud creating a shadow, right? Like there's clouds somewhere in the scene causing shadows. And so, just adding a little bit of dimensionality in the sky, I think could help this image a lot. Or then again, it may make it too busy. So, I would always play with it and see, and then if you don't like it, take it out.
Yeah.
But I like it the way it is.
I do like it the way it is too. I like the yin yang feel of it, but at the same time, I would love to see what it looks like with some dramatic clouds up there.
Right.
Or an alien spaceship landing or something. I don't know. All right, let's move right on. All right, next shot is from Craig Stampley. New Safari pulls before the tide and the crowds arrived. All right, let's bring that up. Nice. Yeah. That looks surreal. Look at that. You know what that reminds me of? Oh, my God. That reminds me of, God, what was that movie? I can't even think of it.
From the Black Lagoon?
No. It was the movie about the Greeks. Oh, good grief. But they had a scene like this in there where they had a woman like this, a naked woman, and they had done this shot of her where she was like the sage, and she's doing this sort of gyrating dance, and it was clearly shot underwater, but they didn't want you to know it was shot underwater because her hair was moving and flowing. And then they sped it up and slowed it down and sped it up and slowed it down. So it had this sort of weird sort of look to it. It was really, really cool. I have to think of it. If I think of it before the end of the show, I'll say it. But.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this is one of my favorite images Craig's ever created that I've seen. This is truly surreal and fantastic. And I love the bubbles, her form, the shape is fantastic. My only suggestion is, and I know it's hard to communicate underwater, but we're losing her face. So I wish we could see her face a little bit, and I wish her arms weren't straight. You know, we've got the pointed toe, we've got the bent knee, we've got the flex in the back. You know, even her fingers, look at her hands. I mean, they have this really amazing, you know, delicate pose, and the arm is straight. If we just had, you know, if the arms were maybe offset a little bit, or something to give it additional flow in that area, would just, to me, it would just take it over the top. But this is really well done.
Yeah, it is. This is fantastic. And I did think of the name of that movie, 300. Remember 300? Tell me you remember 300.
Oh, I remember many parts. I don't remember
Sparta.
a dancing woman.
Oh, come on. It was the part of the, and I'm digressing completely, I realize that. There was a part of the movie where the king climbed the mountain to seek the advice from these deformed sage guys.
Oh, yes, I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had this woman that was sort of dancing around. He was telling the story about, you know, you have to go see the movie. But anyway, this reminded me of that scene. If you remember 300, please sound off in the comments. I'm interested. I'm not the only one that liked that movie.
You're Sparta.
This is Sparta.
Yep.
But cool shot. I do dig this. And I do. I mean, from the interview I did with Craig Colvin, Craig Stampley and Craig Colvin, I know how difficult it is to do these kind of underwater shots. And to get the pose and the lighting and just the logistics and safety involved with doing a shot like this. So whenever I see a shot like this that's pulled off really well like this one, there's another layer of respect that goes into it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that this wasn't photographed in a pool and then the background was composited and dropped in, which, hey, great if you do that and make those beautiful images. But the fact that he found the pool, went down there, scheduled time, got in there before other people did, you know, that's great.
Yeah. And found a model that could hold her breath long enough to do this safely as well. So, yeah,
that's really good.
Very cool. All right. Craig Stanfley, congratulations, man. Nice shot. All right. Michael Rhino's in the house. Michael says, last week, where is it? Last week, I shared a black and white photo from this location in Rocky Mountain National Park. For comparison, here's a color photo from the same morning, but at sunrise from a slightly different location and angle. Long exposure of 8 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, this is really nice. If I remember, the black and white was really blocked up on the foreground and the water. We sort of nitpicked that it was too dark.
Yeah.
This is great. This is really great. The color harmony, the blur in the clouds. Yeah. Love that. Handled really well. Love that crop. I might kind of struggling with the horizon being right in the middle, but you know, the lake.
Me. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know, I got to be the nonconformist. I like this shot. This shot is beautiful. This is, again, one of those shots that, I mean, we're looking at it tiny on a little screen, right? And if it's that amazing at this size, wall sized is, you know, will just blow it out of the water. But then might reveal some things that you didn't see. But at the same time, you know, this looks like it wants to be big. This wants to be a big shot. It doesn't want to be an Instagram, you know, oh, that's nice, move on to the next image. This needs to be stood in front of and examined and sort of taken in. So. And
you shot it with a D850, and that Tamron 15-30 is a spectacularly sharp lens. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of detail, a lot of meat in that image. So
cool.
Dig it. Nice. Well done, Michael. I love that.
Awesome work coming in. Awesome work.
I want to be there. I want to go there.
Yeah, all right. All right, this next one's from Drake White. Made for an article on soup kitchens that will be open on Thanksgiving. XT3 Iridium post processing. All right. Wow, look at that. Now that's another one that could go on a wall, right?
Yeah.
It would, which I assume it will. Well, maybe it won't. He says for an article, so it could be an online article. But this looks like it wants to be printed as well. You know, looking at the detail, just the lines in the hands on the left side of the shot, and then the dirt under the fingernails of the smaller hands in there.
Yeah, I was just zooming in on that actually, and getting in some closer detail on the hands.
Yeah. This looks like this is a timeless photo that illustrates helping hands, right? And
Yep.
food and people that are in distress, which you could make that leap by the dirty hands, right?
Right.
Holding the
And
food.
then the pose here is fantastic. It's not easy to put hands in an image, and photograph them and pose them and get them just so without looking completely unnatural. And these hands feel like they're resting there. They're very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller hands holding the bread are very relaxed.
Yeah.
The fingers are curled and they feel natural. That's exceptionally well done. Yeah, that's not easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just makes you want to look at it too. I love the cropping, the symmetry, the idea, the execution, the story. Really good work. Really good work.
Yeah,
So,
and then the bread in the center is brighter, so everything else is vignetted, so it really brings your focus right there without you even having to try. As a viewer, we know exactly what you want us to look at.
yeah. Yep. Love these. I love simple shots like this. They just get me every time. All right. Drake White, thank you, sir. All right, moving along. Uh-oh. It's Peter Levshin. Did we talk about this shot? I feel like we talked about this shot already. Maybe we just talked about it offline.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I talked about this shot in my head, and just sort of thinking about it. Because when I first looked at this shot, I was thinking, oh, this is interesting. And my brain just sort of goes through. And then like, as an afterthought, I find the guy in there napping. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I was like, okay, there's a guy in the shot. Yeah.
With his shoes off, and it looks like a newspaper or something. Like he had been reading the newspaper, and he just decided to take a nap. And,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say anything positive about his image, though. He doesn't want us to be positive. We can't tell him that it's a really good image or anything like that.
Well, he's not the boss of me, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We could tell him that, a good photographer wouldn't have cropped off the motorbike on the left.
On the left.
Yeah, they would have made sure that got included, all of it.
Yeah. Well, that's Peter's style, is to leave you scratching your head around composition. So.
Yeah.
No, we're joking now. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this shot. So, I love the color in the shot. I know we keep going back to color, and is it necessary? Is it not? But looking at a shot like this with sort of the it's almost a sort of a cyan overcast in it with muted oranges popping out. Seems like sort of the theme of this. Does that add to the shot, or would this be better in kind of a more contrasty black and white processing?
I think it adds to the shot, to be honest. I think here color really adds, and I think the muted color is fantastic because we see all the red brick, the red tile, the red tail lights, the red banners, which I don't know what they say, but it stands out, right? There's a doorway with the signage on there. Mm-hmm. All the torn posters on the left, those are red. I think if we went black and white, we're going to lose all of that. It could still be a good graphical image, but we're going to lose the story component that having it in color would add. And I like the fact that it's muted because I feel like I found it in an old magazine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can almost feel it's dirty in there, and it's this guy. We look for story in things, right? When I think about and I start weaving the story in my head about this shot, I'm thinking, this guy does this. This is his routine. He does this every day, and he's done it every day for the last 25 years, right? He goes in there, and he takes his nap right there, and he gets up and he goes shopping, gets food for dinner or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely adds to it. But
yeah, there's a lot of good
trying not to
elements.
say great shot. So Peter, horrible shot, man. This is horrible. Come back when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Peter, you need to go back, shoot this again.
Yeah, go back and
you got to reshoot it. Yeah,
get your actors back in place and shoot it again.
The only way that we're going to be able to critique this correctly is when we get a good one.
All right, here's another one by Peter. Let's bring this guy up. Nice. How does he get in these situations? I remember a shot like this from Peter that he had done somewhere. Was it Jamaica or someplace? Or maybe it was someone else. But it was a shot of someone in a sort of a tannery where they were working with leather. And it was a similar kind of shot with the artisan just at work doing their stuff, surrounded by the things that they'd worked on. You could sort of tell that they'd been there forever. And I get that same feel for an image like this, where this guy is a master calligrapher, and he's been there forever, right? And he probably started as an apprentice in there, and now he runs the place, and he knows what he's doing, and he's sort of tolerating the photographer that's interrupting his art, for a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Peter has another calligrapher image of a guy sitting doing calligraphy that is just absolutely amazing as well. If he hasn't shared it, he should add it to this and share that image. That calligrapher is fantastic. So, but I just I don't know what to say. I mean, like I'm trying not to be positive.
He's not the boss of you, Troy Miller.
He knows. He knows. No, I think that the big calligraphy in the front, the foreground, needs to be sharp. And I wish wasn't a person standing in the lower right hand corner. I can see some hands.
Oh, I just noticed that. Wow, you're good. I just noticed those hands. Look at that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can see. I think he could have done better. Need to go back and reshoot it, Peter.
Yeah, that's 2 for 2, man. That's 2 for 2. Cool. All right, moving right along here. Joshua Sommerfeld. Bees are my favorite subjects to photograph, mainly because they're such a challenge to capture. They rarely stay on one flower for more than a couple seconds. Canon EOS 77D with a Tamron 90mm f2.8 macro. Look at this. Yeah, that hair is. I always look at the hairs on the bee's back, to see if it's in focus. And those hairs are tack sharp. Look at that.
Yeah, the wing. I love that. I love that wing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is great. The only challenge, with things like this is lighting. Direction of light. I mean, you have to shoot what you have when you have, but some dodging and burning could really help out to pull down the flowers. I think are distracting, and maybe it's just the way that it looks in Mighty, but it feels like it's a little hot, right? You just bring the exposure down, saturate those colors. But with all that said, what an amazing macro shot. These are not easy to get.
They're not friendly either, most of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you vignette this? Is that or would you because a vignette is obviously it's a predictable pattern, or would you take the time and kind of hand go in there and dodge and burn different elements?
I would do it by hand. I mean, the first thing I would do is bring the overall exposure down. And then if you're in Lightroom, you can bring down the highlights and the whites. Or if you're in Capture One, you can work on the HDR slider and the highlights to recover some of that data. And then I would start looking at where the bright spots are still popping out. And I would start to go in and hand dodge those or hand burn those in. I might also consider flipping this so that the bee's not hanging upside down. I don't know that would make.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I wasn't sure about that. I was going to ask you what you thought about that, because I think I would like it better with it flipped, but at the same time, it adds tension to it that the bee is clinging on to this flower.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it needs to be. I'm just saying I would play with it and see what it looks like. I've got dragonflies in my backyard, and they oftentimes land upside down on things and sideways. And, I rotate them because sometimes it looks way better. And other times you're like, nah, you're losing the feel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Nice. Love it. Right in your own backyard, dragonflies, huh?
Yep.
All right. Next one is from Jim Peters. He said, and if there's time for a second one, this one is with Pentax K3i using DA 35mm f2.8 Sunsetted Lizard. What does it say? Cornwall, June of 2018. All right. What do you say? I know. I'm looking at you. I know you're gonna. Let me bring you up on screen here so people can see. So, yeah. This is what I see. Troy Miller. I can tell what he's gonna say. Oh well, you can lose some of that space at the bottom, right there.
It does. And see what they may not know is I got a little window of you over here, and I can see you when you're making faces at me.
Exactly. Hey, and this is what shows this whole picture in a picture thing. I'm trying it out on this episode, so hopefully it's working out. So you can see my reactions.
Yeah.
So.
I love landscapes, and I really like the concept of this landscape. I think we have two images here. I think we have a foreground with a little bit of sunset, and then we have the sky and a little bit of sunset, and I don't think that they work together because the foreground is so dark and there really isn't anything to draw me in, no reflection, you know. I would really love to see most of the bottom cropped off and just this nice silhouetted land with this beautiful sun and some clouds.
Yeah, lose most of the water entirely, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think the water adds anything to it at all.
Yeah. So in that case, you go from this being a shot of you sort of losing light on the coast to a sunset, which is just about to dip below the horizon line, and that becomes the subject versus what's the subject, and it's dark, and yeah.
And then we have almost dead center. If you move horizontally, there's a cloning spot up in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's super obvious. So.
Yeah, so you need to fix that for sure. And if you didn't crop, I was looking at the base of the image, and I had a little micro Troy Miller sitting on my shoulder, and that Troy was saying, yeah, that those flowers or weeds or whatever that are sticking up from the bottom of the frame, I'd probably lose those or crop them out or something. And you went a little bit further and said, yeah, crop all the way up to almost to the horizon line and get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of painful, though. You're standing there. It's beautiful. Our eyes are seeing so much more color and highlights and stuff going on in the water and the smell or whatever, but it's not translating in this image, and that's kind of tough.
Right, for sure. Cool. All right. Well, good thoughts. Yeah, maybe crop this. Whose shot was this again? Let me go back in here.
Jim Peters.
Jim, maybe crop this and resubmit it as a comment to this image so we can take a look at it. I would love to see, and just tag both Troy and I'd love to take a look at what it looks like cropped up a little bit. All right. And moving right along. We got one more from Jim Peters. Ventura TP Pentax 645N with SMC FA. I have no idea what that is. SMC FA 45 to 85 millimeter. At 4.5. Kodak Ektar 100 he shot this on. Remember that emulsion?
Yeah.
Ektar 100. I've shot thousands of rolls of Ektar 100 in my life.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. I know what you're going to say about this, but go for it.
You go ahead. I'll tell you if you're right.
You're going to say the horizon line is the first thing that gets you because it feels like the horizon is tilted to the right. Or the camera is tilted to the right. Something's tilted to the right.
It's definitely tilted. Yeah,
it's tilted to the right. I agree with that. When I'm looking at this, I think the subject of this shot is the TP. So, and most everything else is ancillary. So I'd want to crop this and adjust my composition so that is more evident. Color wise, maybe color isn't even necessary in a shot like this, especially if you boost the contrast to make the highlights and shadows of that TP and make it pop a little bit more, and you crop in a little bit more on that. That would sort of make that the hero of the image along with the straightened horizon.
Right. No, I actually like the color in this. I think it could look really good in black and white as well.
You're just saying that because I said the opposite.
No. It adds an element to the sky. I really like that, but I would play with it in black and white to see what it looked like. I would crop it off the left side. I would crop it off just past the furthest middle palm tree. Mm-hmm. So then our focus becomes the TP, the water, and the bridge. Because I think the bridge is our secondary hook. The TP is our primary hook. So we don't need most of the left half of that image at all. So put the TP on thirds, crop off the left side of the image, and I think you have a much stronger. I don't think we don't need the shore, and we don't need all that other stuff on the left.
Yeah, it's just sort of distracting. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah,
look at that, Troy Miller. You know stuff, man.
I just make it up. I got notes right here. To crop. Yeah.
I dig it.
And if I don't know what to say, I say, just make that black and white.
Just make it black and white. Yeah. No, I learn so much from every show that we do, so this is cool. All right, so the last one is from Mike Doran. Freestyle MX created during the 2005 X Games in SoCal with his Canon 1D Mark II. Canon 1D Mark II in and a Canon 600mm f4 lens. Let's look at this. That's old school tech right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Look at that guy.
That's really nice. I did that once and then I landed bad. No, I never did that.
Yeah. And then you woke up, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Great timing on the shot. I really dig the timing. I even like the juxtaposition of the flag. I wish the pole wasn't going through him, but I know that you can't often choose those locations to get exactly what you want. Yeah. I do wish it was a little sharper though. His head's out of focus and that could just be, camera challenges at the time, but it's such a great shot. I love the fact that, his left hand, which is his brake, or the clutch. I'm sorry. His left hand is the clutch. He's got that one finger on the clutch as he's shifting, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah. No, I dig it too. This is really cool. I agree with everything you said. It doesn't necessarily bother me that much that the flagpole is running through the shot that much because it's soft and it's out of focus, so it's clearly in the background. And obviously this was intentional. This was not a mistake that Mike positioned himself right there, shooting vertical to get the shot with this guy in the flag. And I would imagine there are probably like 50 or 60 guys that came before this one that you're like, okay, I got to get the inverted shot.
Yeah, and it happens fast. It's not like you have a lot of time. Like right. It's over in a couple seconds.
Yeah.
I would just say too, to Mike, is that just clean up that dust in the background. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dust there. So.
Yeah. And how do you suggest doing that? I mean, do you like just sit there in Lightroom and just sort of zoom in to 100% and just page down and go through each little quadrant of the image and retouch it, or what?
Not in Lightroom. Lightroom's good for removing one or two big dust spots. Something of this nature where it's a lot. You got to bring it into Photoshop. Mm-hmm. Use the Smart Clone tool. Set the tool layer. What am I trying to say? Set it to lighten.
Oh, the blend mode, yeah.
The blend mode, yeah. You set it to lighten so that as you're brushing, you're literally not getting rid of the texture, but you're getting rid of the darkest spots, because that's what's really in here is just the darkest spots. And as long as you remove that distraction even just the littlest bit, and it'll be super clean when you do it that way.
Yeah, and the sort of clone tool that's in Lightroom is not necessarily designed for one-off. It's designed as a sensor dust removal tool. So it's designed for you to say, oh, look at this sensor dust, and oh my God, it's on 400 shots that I did. So you could take it off on one and then replicate that over 400, and now it's gone on all 400 shots. So
yeah, and I've used that tool, by the way, to take out windows and doors and signs just to show that you can do it. It's not economical to spend your time, but yeah. Do all the heavy pixel punishing, as a friend of mine likes to say, in Photoshop.
Hey, pixel punishing is good. Pixels were born to be punished, my friend.
I agree.
All right. Well, it looks like that's about it. I think we've gone through all of the submissions. Did I get them all?
We got them all.
I got them all. Yeah. Well, great submissions, everyone, this week. That's fantastic. I say this every week. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm humbled and inspired by the quality and the amount of work that people are discussing and submitting into TWiP Pro.
So, and this is only a small fraction of the images that we get to look at and talk about in the TWiP Pro community, because there's a whole show and tell.
Yeah.
And those images get tons of dialogue.
Yeah.
So if you're not part of the TWiP Pro community and you're watching this outside of it, there's a lot more than just these.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, because the way that it's structured is the photo critique is where people put their images that they obviously want us to look at and comment on. But then in my head, I was like, well, sometimes you don't really want comments. You just want to show people, what you did. And that's what the show and tell area is for. It's not necessarily rhetorical, but you're not submitting images for us to look at and put on blast in a critique session like this. You're more just sharing your images with the community and saying, hey, look at what I did. What do you guys think?
Right.
So, yeah, it works out. It's been working out pretty well. Pretty well.
Yep, love it.
Well, cool, man. All right, so we're at the end. I know you got some video games to go play or something. Troy's been trying to get off this critique so he can go play Call of Duty. I just want to say.
Maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't, I'm out of Mountain Dew, and I've got a bottle of Crown waiting for me. So
there you go. Cool. All right, man. Any parting shots you want to leave with the audience before we sign off?
No, thank you guys for allowing us to do this. This is super fun. So
yeah, I agree. And my parting shot is, if you are in Ohio next week, and you've heard of a store, actually, I'll be in a town called Avon, Ohio. And I'll be doing a talk on time travel for photographers at Pixel Connection. So if you're around and you want to learn how to time travel, then come on over. In fact, I've already been there, and I know that you didn't come. No. No, it's going to be cool. Panasonic has asked me to go out there and do a talk and sort of talk about how I use my Lumix gear and all that stuff. So I'm excited to go out there and chat up the Micro Four Thirds, G9, and GX85 and talk about that stuff. Also, this is, as we record this is Monday. What is the 20th?
19th.
The 19th. Yeah. So it's Monday the 19th. This Friday is Black Friday here in the U.S. and around the world, I guess. Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. So lots of specials going on. So keep an eye out on TWiP for some specials that we'll be running on the TWiP School, as well as some with some different partners that we have, like Picker and some other guys. And even 5 Day Deal is going to be relaunching their deal on the, I believe, Friday or Thursday at midnight or something. So if you missed that 5 Day Deal thing, now's your chance to dive back in. I'll have links to all this stuff posted on the website soon. So please do check that out. All right, man.
Awesome.
That's it for another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. I guess I'll see you next time.
You got it. I'm there.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
This is TWiP.